This is Screendivers. In this week's episode, we are talking about The Color of Money. Released in 1986, directed by Martin Scorsese, screenplay by Richard Price, based on The Color of Money, written by Walter Tevis, produced by Irving Alexrad and Barbara DeFina, and starring Paul Newman, Tom Cruise, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Ellen Shaver, and a ton of other character actors. Cinematography by the legendary Michael Ballhaus, edited by the legendary Thelma Schoonmaker, music by Robbie Robertson, and produced by Touchstone Pictures and Silver Screen Partners. This movie was distributed by Buena Vista Distributions. It was released on October 17th, 1986. It has a running time of 120 minutes, and it was shot for a budget of $14.5 million. This movie raked $52.2 million at the box office. How are you, Chad?
I'm well. How are you?
Stand by. One for Sealab, two for Joy Eagle, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
So today I am joined by Chad, aka Sealab, from the EBD podcast, which we recommended several times on this podcast. It's an alternative version of three other middle-aged men talking about movies. They do it well. So, go check it out. EBD. In this episode, everybody dies. But you didn't answer my question, man. Like, for real. How are you? I'm not happy with the just good.
I'm good. I'm really interested to talk about this one. I'm excited to see what you've got to say about it, and then we can fight about it.
Before we go ahead, a quintessential question must be asked. Chad, what's this movie about?
This movie is about my father, played by Paul Newman, taking Tom Cruise, as played by Ben Stiller, under his wing with his girlfriend, who's a shiesty Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, under his wing to hustle pool. The nuts and bolts of it are the faded Newman coming back into his own by, I don't know, leeching off of the talents of a young, green Tom Cruise. The foibles that ensue, the ups, the downs, and the ultimate Hollywood-esque victory, question mark?
True, that's what this movie is about. That's pretty much what this movie is about. What I didn't know is that it is based on a Walter Tevis book. And I also didn't, I did know that The Hustler was based on something. And to be completely honest with you, this may be possibly, arguably, the best sequel of all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
In sports movies as well. And when we watch, this was a fresh rewatch. Last time I've seen this, I haven't seen this as an adult. Let's just put it in perspective.
Right.
This is a long time ago. This movie was released in 86. I was 9 years old when it came out.
Sure.
So I think you need to, and I don't even think that I think the character Tom Cruise plays in this, we're going to delve onto this one, but I don't think this movie is relatable to a person that would have, even as a teenager or as a young adult, although Tom Cruise plays a teenager very well here. I don't think it's relatable. He plays it from the standpoint of an adult. You know what I mean? Because we get the perspective of Paul Newman, mainly.
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
He plays like a parodied version of a teenager and the bravado. He does that well because he's in that age bracket, but I wouldn't find that relatable because you would deny that behavior at that age. You wouldn't be able to see it. It's he does that fantastically because he had it in him, probably. There's
yeah, I think so.
I think it feels like it's more the way you would see that period of your life later. You know what I mean? And now as an adult, I found frustrating. I found that I sided with Newman more than once. You don't side with Newman in The Hustler, and he plays Tom Cruise in The Hustler. you know,
Yeah.
because he's got that bravado bullshit, and the weight of consequence is not something that you've experienced yet. So I found the conversations where you can really, Paul Newman is fantastic in this movie, man. Like there's moments in which he's trying to channel, why don't you fucking understand what we need to do here?
What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? Give me a fucking answer.
And it's explained over and over again until, you know, whatever happens in the movie happens. He was 61 in this, man.
I kind of like the dichotomy. I like that he just wants to play and win, and he's a punk-ass kid just like we all were in our own way. And yeah, I do agree that it does seem to be a parody, or at least I hadn't considered that from Newman's perspective as an older man. It is his viewpoint that you're seeing, I think, in the screenplay and whatnot. But what Newman is trying to teach him he's trying to teach him how to be a piece of shit, scumbag, hustler, con man. So I kind of like, I sympathize with the fact that he's trying to turn his heart black, you know, and the inverse of the hustler is Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio also being, you know, a lady in black figure versus the lady in the hustler being a lady in white, you know? So, I mean, it's like Tom Cruise is getting it from all sides here. And then in the end, he ends up being the piece of shit. So I don't know. It's an interesting experience for sure.
I think there's a climax to the piece of shittery, let's call it that, the douchebaggery, because there's a, you know, like what I was trying to articulate earlier, I think it's, this movie does something very well, which is, you know, the being devoid of knowing what the weight of consequence is. Therefore, you lack self-awareness. The moment he hands him that fucking envelope,
yeah,
my
100%.
heart sank. My heart sank.
100%.
But
yeah.
you need to be an adult. You need to have lived and lost, and you know, to get that. And it's a fantastic sequence. And I forgot how hard it hits when it hits.
It hits hard. Yeah.
You know.
Newman plays that very well.
Oh my God, this man! I forgot how good he is, man.
Yeah.
I also, I think with age as well, you kind of, I think your facial features will change. You get lines,
Sure.
new lines in your face and stuff. And I didn't realize how important that raising eyebrow is for Newman. It's a fantastic raising eyebrow, you know. There's a lot of imitators. Like we talked about Newman after doing we did Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That was a fun episode because we enjoyed
that
that
was a
movie
good
to no end. And in that movie as well, he does it a lot. But all of his mannerisms when he was younger is very much what Brad Pitt idolized. Because if you look at the way he moves kinetically.
In Redford, yeah.
Well, but I didn't realize that. I always thought that, particularly watching that movie, we always thought that Brad Pitt was like a new age clone or the next generation of Redford. No, his acting was actually like carbon copy of the way Newman acted. Because, you know,
Sure.
like if you become an actor, you must have some figures that you idolize, right? Some heroes. You'll end up in picking up some traits from them.
Even absorbing it subconsciously, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But man, we're talking about this movie basically being a fantastic character study, and it's strange because it's a studio picture. This was a big movie.
Yeah, the nothing burgerness of the intention behind it is interesting.
Absolutely. And, you know, like a lot of our listeners, yourself included and myself, we have all enjoyed and watched. If you're listening to this and you haven't, find a way to get your hands on there's a miniseries, 6-part or 5-part documentary about Scorsese. It's super honest. It's beautiful. And there's a lot of stuff in that you may find out about Scorsese that you may have not known.
Yeah, 100%.
And one of them is that, you know, at some point in his career, he really hit, you know, a wall. This movie was a way for the studio to regain trust in Scorsese. Because before this, he had a massive flop with a passion project that I adore, which is After Hours, made no money, and that's how you write yourself off Hollywood. So this was a way to come back, and considering the fact that it's not an original script, it's an adaptation of a book, and on top of that, he had the restraints of a studio, the big studio here, it's still a Scorsese movie, and I gotta tell you, he managed to sneak in possibly the biggest amount of whip hands in this, of aggressive push-ins.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there's the way the camera moves in this is anticipatory as well. Like there's, is that the word anticipatory when you, like an anticipatory, is that how you pronounce it? Anticipatory?
Yep.
When you anticipate.
Say it again.
Anticipatory.
I like it.
There's a lot of the camera moving before the actors move.
Yeah.
Right. I was on my own when I watched this, so I got to do what I consider to be a luxury.
He rewinded it so much.
Oh my God, this watch took me almost 6 hours because I kept going back, sometimes 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times.
I don't know how you do that. I gotta watch. I just gotta watch it, bro.
Because I just couldn't believe it. I wanted to see how some stuff was done, and I still cannot.
Yeah.
When we get to it, I'll tell you, because one shot in this movie, it broke my head. There's a shot in it. Let's talk about it now.
Okay.
I'm trying to work it out. There's when Newman gets to Atlantic City, there's a little kind of montage that is done very tastefully, so it doesn't look like prestige fucking 1980s montage, because you can do that, and it was the 80s, and it's a sports movie. So he kind of somehow managed to put one in, but do it so tastefully that it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
So it's an introduction to the third act of this movie. It's like almost like an important point in the film, because it's like a marker. I like to put markers between, like to define first act, second act, third act. And in my opinion, this is for me. It did it for me. This was a marker for the beginning of the third act. He gets to Atlantic City. He gets to the pool hall, right? But he's entering downstairs. The camera's upstairs. It's like there's a higher floor. The camera is so high up that it's close to the ceiling. So it must have been on a crane. I'm trying to work out how, because they didn't have fucking drones. So the camera is high up. We start getting a pan, it starts going down, right? And then somehow the camera, this is a continuous shot, somehow the camera ends up behind Newman's shoulder. And it wrecked my brain, dude. And it's a long shot. And it's not the only long shot of this movie. There's a shot in this movie let's say that it marks the start of the second act of the movie, where Tom Cruise is showing off for the first time. He's doing a lot of stuff that he shouldn't be doing based on the instructions that he got given by Fast Eddie. The camera starts spinning around him while he's playing pool to give him a sense of power. It's in the middle, right? So you're making the protagonist centric, right in the center of this massive 360 dolly shot. It's like an arc shot that goes on for 51 seconds as the game is being played. And it goes around past pillars, a couple of extras.
No steady cams.
Oh man, I watched that shot. Like, it's incredible. There's also some arc shots that I've done that way with a steady cam here. But that's Michael Ballhaus.
Would this be early Steadicam? Because that 86 is very early for Steadicam.
I think
very early.
I think we're around the time in which there is already pioneered. But I think when it comes down to arc shots or 360, like full on, this is the pioneer movie for sure. Man. Yeah.
It's like the old school, like Matrix style arc shot, just not bullet time kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's later. Let's say
Obviously.
that we praised Tarantino for that shot in the diner of the camera going around the table. We praised him a lot, but that was already like the movie must have been in production in 1990, 91. But obviously, he's paying homage to Scorsese with these.
Yeah,
and I can think of something later that was quite impressive of this magnitude. Was a shot in Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, okay.
With
Russell
Crowe. You've seen that, right?
Of course, yeah. It's been a while, but yeah.
I think it must be on YouTube. So we'll put a link for our listeners. I'm pretty sure I'll find it. There's an arc shot that it's full on because it goes all around him, and then he turns in the opposite direction. It's really funny. What? It's really good. But this movie is there's the aggressive push-ins to make a point, even to the ball. Really feel the thundering crack of the pool break. There's even like there's a synchronicity to the shot that's meant to symbolize the start of the tournament, and there's all the tables shooting at once.
Yeah.
And for a second I thought, is that a thing? Like, is that a thing? Do they give them like a starter pistol sound? Oh. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that it is one of the best sequels, if not the best. And I actually had never seen this nor The Hustler. I'd never heard of The Hustler. I had obviously heard of this. And then in the green room, in the lead up to the show, we were talking about how, it is, I guess it's a sequel. I mean, it's kind of like indirect. Like it wasn't, they threw the book and the original script version of this movie away and then started basically over again. So it's kind of like a, I don't know, honorary sequel, really. Like it's not true to the source material, which I don't particularly care.
You read the book? You read The Color of Money?
No, I've never read the book. I didn't like Fast Eddie's character. I thought he was a dick. Yeah, I get the parallels, but like, it just really didn't do much for me. Whereas this did. This, like, the camera work on this, the Scorseseosity of this, did a lot. Obviously, he's got his right-hand editor, so they work very closely. It surprises me that, he was just doing it, for business reasons as opposed to art. That said, he is an artist, therefore, art comes out of it.
Yeah,
but it's definitely a good sequel from the perspective that it's better than the original. And like Roger Ebert, who says that he didn't really like this and he loved The Hustler, didn't like this because of how aggressive the camera is. It's like, go fuck yourself, mate. But this is like rock solid, man. Like, I love Ebert and stuff, but like sometimes his head's so firmly up his ass that like it's all right, buddy.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, my head's firmly up my ass sometimes too. So
yeah, but they're opinions, right? We're not gonna they're purely opinions.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I didn't read anything about what Ebert thought of this movie, because I didn't want to contaminate our point of view, like sometimes when you read a review of someone in a high place, like you tend to, I didn't want to go there. But there's one thing that, and to me, it's not even a flaw, but there's a lot of it. Like I said, there's a huge amount of like aggressive push-ins here. There are, but they're done almost at a didactic level. Like, because what's the meaning of a push-in? It's to empower somebody, usually.
Sure.
Right? And if you do it lower down going up, then you're really empowering them, right? The lower you are with the camera, because the audience will find whatever they see imposing. But the aggressive push-in is something that you don't expect. And this movie does it so many fucking times, but it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old because of the topical nature of this movie. So it's it's almost genius, because that aggressive push-in is the equivalent of a pool cue hitting a ball. That's what's happening with the camera. It's like you're
totally
breaking. It does it all the way through, but it's the arc shots, and the pullouts here are done tastefully. There's even like a sequence, maybe I'm seeing too much into it, but I told you, I rewound it a few times, so in my head I had to...
6 hour watch.
But there's a purpose, right? If you use these shots with purpose, then it's fucking beautiful. He really is an artist, man. Like, and he knows who to work with. Because, we talked about the way this movie looks, and that's Michael Ballhaus. But obviously there's the editing. And editing she's been working with him forever.
Yeah.
Imagine that friendship. That's not an easy friendship, man.
No, not at all. Basically, since the Woodstock documentary that he got, his credit stripped off of.
Thelma Shoemaker.
Yeah.
That Scorsese were known for wanting to be in the editing room.
Sure. Which I respect.
Yes. But he went through fucking 10 years of coke use. So imagine being Thelma, sitting there with Marty for 16 hours, was fueled by cocaine. Man, they really got to be friends.
Yeah, no doubt. She's clearly a saint.
Yes. And, but where are we going with this? It's because he knows who to work with. He tends to work with the same people over and over again, because the director needs to have vision, and then that vision needs to be enacted by, the people that are putting it on screen. So there's a synergy here that is fantastic. And there's a couple of shots when it comes down to the same, like 180 kind of arc shots. You see the camera move in rotation, but it's not full rotation. And it's very slow as well. It's like a slow whip 180, and it's gone. And usually the way it really works in this movie is when we're pulling out, it's a pullback from the subject. And usually a pullback is done to portray, I don't know, something like loneliness or detachment. And in this movie, it's done at the right time. There's a scene in the diner when they're sitting down, and it's it's the first or second time that Fast Eddie's pleading. He's pleading with them. He's trying to get through to them.
Hey, I'm joking, you guys. Come on. I'm just...
Did I get through to you last night, kid? Because if I didn't, I'll run it by you another way. If you'd have kicked ass in any other place but Chalky's, Atlantic City would be dead for us. The guys never leave the street. Otherwise, it would be all around.
Hey, let me tell you something. Last night, you know, people never talked to me like that before. You really talked to me. And I just want you to know that I appreciate it. And
Okay.
I want to thank you, for everything.
This man has no children. He has no kids, right? So I assume that the only way for him to try and mentor somebody into this world, because you said something, he's mentoring him to, to sending him to a piece of shit. I'm not saying that I disagree, but I would label it in a different way. Because at the end of the day, this is a seedy underworld. The moment you throw money that it's exchanged without, without regulation, then I think he's kind of teaching him how to navigate this world.
He's trying to teach the kids street smarts, basically. But that's, I think, how he would justify it to himself. I tend to just think it's slightly further over the line. And that comes back to bite him in the ass with the envelope.
Some stuff in this movie is done tastefully because it is a sequel, right? I think it's much more than just a spiritual sequel. And look, to put it in terms that this is akin to something like Creed.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, you do have, because there's a time, it's about 30 years or whatever it is, and someone coming back to mentor somebody else, I think it's done right.
Again, it's the dishonor that really trips me up. But in the synopsis, I said, my father, played by Paul Newman, and like the Scorsese documentary, I never realized that he grew up hard-ish. And so like, it's different now. It's very quaint that hard back in our parents' youth was hard.
It's a different kind of hard.
Yeah, it's a different thing. So like, seeing Scorsese and seeing him talking about De Niro and all of the adjacent people and how a lot of the stories in his movies were taken from his own youth and stuff, like, something really clicked for me because my dad grew up hard as well in Boston and was around a lot of that kind of stuff, like The Departed, all that kind of like Whitey Bulger and all that crazy shit. He grew up like in Dorchester. So it like really unlocked an understanding of how and why my dad did what he did. My dad's not a pool hustler, and he's not a piece of shit like Eddie is, but there's like so much that rhymes, and there's so much that like clearly like he grew up in Paul Newman, Eddie neighborhood. He grew up in all of these kind of hoods. So like it really was like, oh wow, because he was here for a month last month, and so just like it really kind of was this jambalaya of observations experiencing this movie. And like I think like when you cross someone that grew up in that environment, it's like you're fucking dead to them. But if you're inside the circle, you couldn't be more embraced. Do you know what I mean? Like I thankfully have lived my whole life within the circle with my father. Like I don't want to get too personal about it, but like I've seen the Scorseses and the Fast Eddies and the my fathers of the world throw someone on the other side of the line and just be like, you're fucking dead to me. And I think like there's teaching Tom Cruise's character street smarts, and then there's, you can't take the scrappiness and the dog-eat-dogness out of the person that grew up in that situation. They're always looking for the angle. You know, my dad and his uncle always talk. It is 100% a survival mechanism. Yeah. And he was saying, like, if it ain't for free, it ain't for me. So it's like, you know, you snag stuff when you can get it. You take advantage when you can take advantage, and you get yours, you know, because it's such a fucking survival of the fittest environment. It's like hard ingrained in your being. And so for me, it hit a little bit, not close to home, but like it connected on this level of understanding that I recently understood. Especially with the Scorsese documentary that we were talking about, and really just kind of like understanding that generation and people that lived in that scrappy environment. And like I get what Eddie's trying to do, and I know Eddie's trying to find his own redemption and stuff, but like, yeah, the end of the Hustler, like I had to go pick my kids up from school, so I ended up having to pause the watch. I know I'm diatribing here, but I had to pause the watch before the kind of big moment happens in the third act. So like I actually wasn't even going to be able to finish The Hustler before jumping on, but thankfully you were delayed, so I was able to finish The Hustler. And so like it actually was like, oh shit, oh wow, okay, it's odd. Yeah. And then you see Eddie here, and you know the ramifications from The Hustler, and like I kind of feel like he doesn't learn his lesson. And the last shot of this movie is him not making the recovery, like going where I was hoping. So like that's kind of the vibe.
Absolutely. Allow me to. I'm not going to try and change your mind through this, right? But
Go for it.
I'm
willing.
easing you in, perhaps seeing my side of this, the way I see it. I actually, once again, it's almost clinical the way the sequel is made, because there are several instances in which, we keep calling, you called Fast Eddie a piece of shit in this movie several times, ultimately. And that's okay, but I'm going to try and show you why I think he's not. Because what makes a man? I think a man is mainly made of reputation and integrity. To this day, that's all you have. Doesn't matter what world you navigate, what you do. We don't even have to have the same moral compass or the same MO, about a day to day. But if you have integrity, I think that makes a man. And that's a hard call, right? We tend to gravitate, if you're smart enough, towards people that have a similar moral compass to yours. And we tend to. But
when you say what makes a man, what do you mean? I'm not disagreeing, but what do you mean? Like, what makes a man? Like, what makes the person
a human
whole?
being?
What makes
a human being? Sorry, let's say a human being. I think it's integrity. I think it's a set of ideals that gets molded by your moral compass, and it's strong, regardless of what it is. This doesn't mean that you need to have a lack of flexibility, but it's putting stock behind what you say and your actions over time. And that's very hard to do.
But if you don't have integrity, are you I'm just philosophically pushing. If you don't have integrity, are you non-human?
No.
Because there's plenty of people that don't have integrity.
I know, but I don't wish to be around them. I don't even want to.
Oh, sure.
Look.
Fucking A.
Yeah, I don't. No, I don't wish to be around them because I find that to be a bad example. So I don't even want to judge that type of behavior.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to gain as much integrity as I can before expiring, because that's my envisioning of what a man is. And you're right.
Yeah.
It is subjective, right? But that's to me.
I
that's
would just say it.
one.
I would zoom out a tiny bit and say it's purpose, and the purpose could be good or nefarious, but the person feels as though they have purpose, and hopefully there is a layer of integrity, and that is what I like, and that's who I like to be around. So yes, I would agree with that. Yeah,
but also I value that as almost as a virtue. It is a virtue because it is very hard to obtain and retain in the age we live in, right? Because it is a complex world, and that will be challenged time and time again. But even back in 1986, we have a man who's striving for some sort of integrity within a system that is city. We mentioned the city underworld, right? So even if there is a set of unspoken rules in that world, I see, I think that kind of, it's magnetic enough for me, right, to see it as a way to you mentioned redemption earlier, for example, because that's what Fast Eddie is after here, and it seems to me that he will die.
Are redemption arcs, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, but you mentioned the end of The Hustler, and we're not going to say what happened at the end of The Hustler because I want to. Yeah, but it's remarked in this movie over and over again, and I'll give you an example. There are several instances in which, regardless of what's happening to him, and regardless of how difficult the relationship that he's trying to establish, he's trying to settle down. You said it earlier. He's trying to settle down, and he's found somebody that he can settle down with. I don't think that the relationship that he has with her is transactional, which is very honorable for someone like him. I'll give you an example. I kept thinking of Thief with James Gunn. Beautiful fucking movie. Great movie. And Ricky said something when we discussed that movie, that James Gunn's character sees and handles every relationship in his life as transactional. I don't think that happens here.
That's like De Niro in Heat, for example. Same.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And what do all these characters have in common? They're criminals. You could argue that Fast Eddie is a criminal because he's breaking the law. There's money being exchanged. It's illegal. Yeah, he's a criminal.
He's petty criminal, but he's a criminal. He fucking sells fake booze.
Absolutely.
He's bootlegging. Yeah, 100%.
Well, actually, no. I think there's, he does that legally, kind of. Right, but he's navigating that world
puts
with
the wrong label on the whiskey.
Well, but again, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's just small time. Yeah, no, it's small time. That's fine.
There you go. So
I jaywalk. It's cool.
What are you, the fucking Punisher, man? I'm just this crime and crime, right? But
it's a good comic.
He navigates this world with some sort of integrity, and you can see him consumed.
He's trying.
You can see him consumed by every instance we see him either breaking the code or falling prey to it or making a mistake. He's consumed by it. That's a conscience. This man has developed a conscience. How? In a very traumatic manner. So it seems to me that he's lived in a state of limbo for 30 years. right?
But he also, at the end, doesn't redeem himself.
I disagree. I disagree.
I think he redeems his desire to play the game. He doesn't redeem his ability to have a healthy settling down.
But he refuses the hustle at the end of this movie. He turns down the hustle. That's the last thing he does. That's the closer. It turns down the 8,000. It turns down the envelope. He wants to
but
win.
that's not because
right.
he doesn't want to hustle. That's because he wants to win. He wants to beat the kid fair and square. It's not because he wants to give up the hustle.
But that in this world where, the smoke and
it's
mirrors,
it's like the last heist. It's like he's actually, I think that he is interesting because it's like he is stopping robberies. He's Pacino in Heat who wants to spend time with his wife and his stepdaughter, and he therefore walks away from his badge. That is, in my opinion, my definition of redemption. Dying in a fucking airport is like because he wants to stop the bad guy. Is not funny.
He pays a high price, and this movie technically has a happy ending.
And so him saying "fuck you," I'm going to beat you fair and square, and then whether you know or not, the outcome is irrelevant.
I love the fact that you done it. Yeah,
which is
that's
cool.
Another homage. Yeah, there's another homage to The Hustler. For example, there's little things, and I'll give you an example. In The Hustler, there's the first game. The first game they played in the Hustler, it's there's an exchange. They're doing the con, right? It's him and Charlie, and they're playing this game of pool. And that the ball, there's a shot of this ball going towards the pocket, but the camera moves away. He's going to win the game. They don't want you to know the result, and it's because you know the result. It's stuff like this. There's stuff that happens in this movie as well. It's a continuous homage to that. But going back to why I think that because of what happens at the end of The Hustler, there are several instances in which, because of the fractured relationship that he has with this woman, he's trying to mend because he wants to settle down with her. And it's honest. It's not transactional. It's honest. He's in love with this woman, right? And I believe it as the viewer. There's 2 or 3 times in which he's in the hotel room by himself, and he makes a call, another call. He calls her, even after the argument, and even when they have the first big argument, when they're checking the codes. You know what I mean? Like they're having then Turturro shows up. We're going to talk about John Turturro in this.
Dude, he's so good. It was such a delightful surprise to see some of the cast here.
Exactly. And there's a moment in which he's left alone. Turturro goes, he has a bad exchange with him. He checks his coat, fucking curses him and leaves. And then she's really upset with him and leaves. And there's a moment in which you see Newman losing his temper. He's going, damn it. And because he curses out loud, he even apologizes to the coat lady.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm sorry. And you see, there's something about this character. It's like he's trying to do right. Even if he doesn't do right, he's trying to do right. And it's in this world of scumbags. You said earlier that this is you prefer this to The Hustler.
Definitely.
And you're right. It's a more entertaining movie. However, this movie lacks something. In my opinion, The Hustler had a phenomenal antagonist. Maybe the structure of the movie is slightly different. You're right. Because, there's antagonism, but it's alternate between the 2 leads, between Tom Cruise and you're right. I mean, I sided with Fast Eddie most of the time. But look, there's a very weird scene. We're going to talk about the weird scene in this movie because I really love the way it was done as well. You know which one.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, Fast Eddie, for the umpteenth time, he turns up to their room because he's trying to make a point. He's reiterated. His frustration is mounting. I don't know, so much patience really, because I would have gone after the second instance. I would have gone, you know what, fuck this. Enough.
The young buck fucking things up over and over again gets old.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it that you don't understand?
What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? Give me a fucking answer.
We're doing this for this reason, for money. You can do this for money, then, do it. And I'm teaching you this. You don't want to learn, just say no. He told him as well. From the beginning, he gave him the option. It's just this yes and no. But it's believable because he's young and dumb, right? But he turns up to their room. He walks in, and Carmen, that's the character that Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is playing. She's showering, and the bathroom door has a mirror on it. And there's nuance in this sequence because you know exactly that if you can see somebody in a mirror, they can see you back, right? And there's a moment in which you can see her body leaning into the frame of the mirror. So she is being seen by Paul Newman. Paul Newman sees that he's frozen. He doesn't say anything.
For a moment.
And she kind of, she leans out, but then she leans back in and holds. As in, look at me. And that...
As in an air of I don't give a shit as well. Yeah.
No, I think she's trying to...
That's the air, and then he reads it a different way, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think she was facetiously flirting, kind of. Like, this is a game. And justifies his reaction later. Because later he goes... when he comes back to the room later on, it's pretty full on what happens.
Oh, yeah.
He grabs her, yeah. But then it's kind of almost excused because he sits her down right after. Like, you see, this is not what this is about. And
but she's rattled. I mean, being in a fucking hotel room with a big old dude like would rattle anyone in that situation. I
absolutely. Think. But he goes from that to sweetness very quickly. Because once again, he's explaining something to these kids. You know, if without
what
that
he doesn't know, again, and like I'll just hint at it, what he doesn't know, I think, is that the inverse happens in The Hustler, where the character that he is now does something similar, but in an inverse manner. So, you know, and I think he doesn't know, despite, you know, the broader film. But like, I think the biggest issue that I have with the plot, not that I have a problem with it, but the biggest... There's like comedies and black comedies, you know what I mean? There's like dramas, and I would like it's like a black drama, you know. It's like
it's like the tone.
It's
no. You can't pinpoint the tone.
It's not the tone. It's just that it's bleak.
It is, yeah.
It's bleak.
It is.
The conversations where Eddie and Carmen are basically talking about Vincent as if he's, you know, the racehorse or a piece of property that needs to be groomed into the thing that will support them
manipulative,
both.
Yes.
It's fucking bleak.
It is.
And I think it's what's attractive, I think, in the story. Because like Tom Cruise is like fucking you know, yeah, bro. Woo! You know,
he's that Ben Stiller, right?
He really has that Ben Stiller parodying. There's a fucking short from like an MTV Movie Awards where Ben Stiller pretends to be Tom Cruise, and like it's fucking Ben Stiller in moments in this movie.
You know, sometimes it's a little crazy to think about, and that's when, I don't know, it's kind of like we almost finish each other's sentences, kind of.
I mean, I don't think we've ever finished each other's sentences.
And like, I like that how young he is here, and this is like right at the time that he's shooting or about to shoot Top Gun, and he hasn't become a star yet, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But it's, I would argue that Vincent might have been introduced to the idea of hustling from Carmen. I would argue that there's a reasonable chance that Vincent just wants to play pool and measure his dick and win. And Carmen wants to make enough money to support them and their habits. And Eddie wants to make enough money to support him and his habits.
You bang on the money. The movie opens with Paul Newman catching wind of what you just said.
And Carmen's out of her depth. And so Eddie's like, I'll take you both under my fucking wing. Yeah, man, and she is.
Even the way that entire sequence is shot.
That dialogue, dude, beautiful. Where he's like, I'm going to offer you the 100 again. I'm going to offer you. Like, that is masterful dialogue, man. Holy shit.
And that's, you know, the shot that I said earlier where the camera is anticipatory, the shot that I rewinded over and over again. It's John Turturro plays Julian here, the coke fiend, the dope fiend. He's still kind of working with Fast Eddie, right? Fast Eddie's staking him, basically.
He's the old horse.
And there's a moment in which he puts a hand in his pocket to grab some money and give it to him, and the camera aggressively pushes into his pocket to the money, then up and then forward, and then Turturro starts moving. Man, I rewinded that 6 times. It's fucking incredible. Even the nuance in some of the performances here are fantastic, dude. Turturro, we don't get enough of Turturro, it's a shame, but there's the moment of hesitation in which he's pondering, should I have the game that I'm being offered? At the beginning, this is the first 10 minutes. You can see when, it's great. That movie sucked me in right away, man. When Tom Cruise goes, when Tom Cruise goes, you want to have a game? Just a game for no money. Actually, you know what? You can win, I'll pay you. And you can see the camera's fixed on Turturro, and he leans a little bit like, should I not? It's how the fuck do you?
But also,
don't.
it's should I not, and it's also like I don't know if I want to play a clean game of pool. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
And he walks away. He walks away.
Yeah, he walks away, but he also walks away like later too, like in outside of the coat check, and then later on in Las Vegas, or wherever, or Atlantic City, I should say. Like, yeah. He's
but
just
in that
like,
instance,
fuck you.
when he walks away, I know why he walks away, but I had to finish the movie to work out why he walked away because I didn't get it at the beginning. It left me a little bit puzzled. If you look at his performance, his eyes glance, they dart in the direction where Paul Newman's meant to be sitting down. He's outside of the frame, but we know that he darts at him like seeking for a second because it's hesitation. And even that would have pissed him off, would have pissed Fastetti off. He refuses the game because that's breaking rule number one. He probably would have won. We don't know if he would have won or not. But the idea is he cannot do it. And for a second, he wanted to do it. We wanted to break the number one rule is being taught by Fastetti, which is you never show a full room how good you are because then you lost the room. If you beat the guy who's very, very good, I had to finish the movie to get it, man. It's fantastic.
But why is that the number one rule for Eddie? Because he beat the guy in the room in his movie.
Well, yeah, but you also burned the room. You won't be able.
That's
to
what I mean. He
He
burned his ability to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, because this really important rule of word of mouth. People would know immediately. They would talk about you, whatever, and it would spread fast.
It's just like the fucking poker, the poker world or any other. You know the heads. You know the up and comers.
Exactly. We talked about with Kev. We did Rounders, and in Rounders there was a similar scenario in which you got to move the hustle after a while. Particularly with the character that Ed Norton plays in that movie, which he would burn every fucking room he was in. So now we get a taste here of where Scorsese wanted to go. I think this is the first movie where he really went heavy with the music.
Sure.
It's 86. And by heavy with the music, I think this is the first time that he had enough money from the studio to use music, a lot of different music. I mean, this movie has a hell of a soundtrack. And after that, we got the soundtracks. Goodfellas and all of that. This marriage of, a good track that really makes a scene, In this one, we have Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, werewolves of London. Ahoo.
Who's in this soundtrack? We've got Don Henley, Eric Clapton, Robert Palmer, Willie Dixon, B.B. King, and Warren Zevon. The list goes on and on and on. But I think the guy that was in charge of the original score of this movie is Robbie Robertson. There's a tune in particular that's very, very good.
The music was lost on me because of the material. I definitely, obviously experienced it, but it didn't stick with me like it did with some of the other stuff that we've been watching together for this show and for my show recently. And similarly, the sequences, certainly like when you were talking about the camera work and stuff, it's like, yeah, I remember a lot of that stuff, but like it wasn't sticking with me as much as like what I was talking about like the plot stuff and the like seedy underbelly stuff. I think, honestly, the best sequence is the opening sequence where Vincent's on show in the bar and Carmen's out of her depth and Eddie sees something. It's like, it was funny because I didn't realize just how much the Amish dude throwing a bowling ball in Kingpin is literally lifted from Vincent breaking the fucking initial sledgehammer brown, and like Woody Harrelson's like, huh? You know what I mean? It's literally the same thing, and like it's like completely different caliber of movie. And just, I don't know, it was like the iconic nature of Newman as the kind of seedy dude with, I guess, a heart of gold, that he maybe never quite get to be bright polished gold. Seeing it, and that couple of back and forths of dialogue of like, I'm going to offer you the 100 again. Like it could not hook you more. And then the camera work and the Scorseseosity mixed with the fact that it is bleak with the three characters as they're kind of antagonizing each other throughout, all the way through to, you know, like Vincent as fallen Anakin Skywalker by the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like... It's got so much going on that it wasn't about the sequences in particular. It was about the sequence of events, you know, like that really got me. If that makes sense.
At some point after this, I will have to go on eBay and look for what a babushka or whatever the
Balabushka or whatever.
Yeah. I see how much they are, if they're even for sale or whatever. Because one of the people sitting down that says, didn't the guy that makes this die 10, 15 years ago? He says something like that. So not only it was already like at its status, but the guy, it's like a Tori Anso sword, right?
Yeah.
Like,
which I just was watching again. A Balabushka between 5 to 150 grand.
Oh, fuck.
He made 1,200 Qs.
Oh, my God. And another thing, little factoids. I'll give you one, all right? Straight out of Wikipedia. A line spoken in this movie is responsible for why Doom, the video game, is called
such
Doom.
A good nugget, bro.
Yeah, to steal this from you?
Such a fucking good nugget. Yeah, I saw that and was like, oh my God, I love that so much.
So for our listeners, Tom Cruise, one of our protagonists, he says,
yeah, what are you carrying? Oh, in here? Doom. Yeah.
There is a sequence that I didn't particularly like, and I'm trying to understand why it's there, but it is a little montage. It's when he goes, I'm losing my vision. And he goes to do the test and everything.
What the fuck was that? I don't understand what that was.
It's basically him. I think it's meant to represent rebirth when he comes out of the water. Like he goes for a swim and then he's reborn. So I think that's what it is. But because otherwise, why the fuck is it there? You know, like
I don't fucking know. I was just kind of like, okay, dude.
I think this is an instance in which Marty probably pushed for this to be in there.
In the room on an 8-ball? Yeah, probably.
No, come on. Like
sorry,
again,
with a 9-ball.
I don't know the ins and outs. Like we got a glimpse of the relationship that he has with Thelma, right?
Yeah.
She's been in every fucking movie he's ever done, pretty much. But
yeah, everything.
Yeah. The idea is, I think this is a fight that she lost with him.
Yeah, probably.
There's two of them where the transitions are fade. There's one where the camera goes all the way around, another arc shot, which is, there are so many here, man. Like, if you get a chance, just rewatch 10 minutes of this movie and see what I'm, like, when you start noticing them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But they never get old. The camera pans left to right and right to left with the same kind of semicircular motion. And it works. You get somebody else to do that for 10 minutes straight in a movie.
Oh, totally. You know, it's like anamorphic lens, J.J. Abrams fucking, it just gets old so fast, but this does not. Yeah, Scorsese has that talent where it doesn't generally get old. He gets fucking old and makes a 6-hour movie with de-ageified Robert De Niro, but like, generally speaking, his style does not get old, you know?
I think someone out there, maybe I'll have a look, because that's a good movie, but it's almost ruined by how much you detach because it doesn't look good, right? Apparently, I heard rumors of somebody else doing it now with the technology that is available to the end user now, and they did a better job. Even at the time, they did a better job.
I still feel like, I mean, this is obviously like a Scorsese dissect, but like between this and like Killers of the Flower Moon, it's like I when I hear about a movie that I love, it was fine. When I hear about a movie that I love and they're like, the first cut was 6 hours, and I'm like, I want to see that cut. Watching these 6-hour fucking Scorsese movies, I'm like, I don't want to fucking see that cut. Like, you gotta cut some shit out of it. You need Thelma to fucking keep you on your toes, bro. I don't know. I think like with The Hustler today, it was like, oh, I'll watch The Hustler. It's from 1961. It'll be like 90 minutes. No, it's 3 fucking hours long. You know what I mean?
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. And maybe I missed that part of the documentary, but I just realized you were talking. I just realized something. There isn't a single release that I can remember by Scorsese that has director's cut on it. I think
I don't know, but I think you're right.
I think this means that it's like a dick swing. It's like I always get director's cut kind of thing.
And he does. Generally.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a good thing,
and he
right?
fucking should. I mean, no, but at least it's clean. At least it's clean. Yeah. There was it reminds me actually of something that I was reading. So it's not my thought. And I thought it was an interesting layer that I hadn't seen, which was like the making of this movie and Tom Cruise bucking against the rules is kind of a parallel to Scorsese breaking against the studio rules and fighting against that authority. It's like fighting against authority rhymes with him struggling with the Hollywood stuff. And it was kind of an interesting take because he does get his cut now. Like he did get his mega hits to the point where now he does do whatever the fuck he wants. He got there in the end, you know?
You know that we said, we caught a glimpse of stuff we didn't know about Scorsese with that series. Again, to our listeners, go watch it.
Go check it out.
Just find a way to watch it. It's great. It's endlessly entertaining. It's a documentary that leaves you on a cliffhanger, which is unusual. Like at the end of an episode, you want to watch the next one, which is already masterful. Like just Marty just telling you this one in particular when it ends with like De Niro, and you just there's no way. There's no way I'm not watching the next episode now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What documentary does that? Maybe
I called for help twice. And not a fuck you, what do you need, or nothing.
It's the Tiger King of director movies.
Yeah, of biopics, for sure.
I love it.
There is one thing that I never noticed how much. For example, I didn't know, believe it or not, it was always a fast talker or whatever. I never knew that he basically really suffered with coke. But then it makes sense.
No, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
It does make sense, yeah.
Yeah, he's very honest about being a bad father without saying it at some point and trying to make up for it. There's a lot of that.
But it seems like every documentary I see nowadays, like it's the thing. Like we watched the Billy Joel one, and it was like, oh, piece of shit, cool, okay. We watched another one, and it was like, oh, piece of shit, okay. Like in order to get that famous, it's the plot of this movie in a way, where it's like in order to make it, you gotta leave people behind.
For sure. And the idea is, look how much I don't have kids, right? But you're a father, and you have a partner. You're trying to put everything you have into the relation and nurturing this relationship.
Not fucking that up. Yeah.
No, you're not putting that like a portion of you. You put in everything, right?
Well, you can, and that's what I try to do. But a lot of people get sucked into other shit, and it falls apart.
Absolutely, but this isn't just other shit. You mentioned like someone like Billy Joel or someone at the level of Scorsese. You can't have both. You can't have both. I agree. Seems that it's a limitation.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
You can make up for it afterwards. Maybe, once you make all that money, you hire a submarine and go to the bottom of the ocean with them. And
yeah. Yeah. Get fucking imploded on. Yeah, totally. Take your kid with you. It'll be fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Nah. Good idea.
Or maybe you want to go up to space with your wife and their friends. You know what I mean? Like in a spaceship that looks like a dick.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Katy Perry's an astronaut, dude. Don't argue it.
'Cause you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out, you're up, then you're down, you're wrong when it's right, it's black and it's white, we fight, we break up, we kiss, we make up. You're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no.
I think we're getting to ratings times.
Okay.
I think we are. We're getting into ratings territory. And I would dare you to go first.
Yeah, I think I would actually rate this quite highly, certainly in the algorithm sense. For those that are unaware, I nerded out a little bit about rating all movies against each other for all time. And therefore, a good movie is a 5. And to be good is quite a feat. Problematic movies might be great, but they're in the 4s just by definition. And so it's just an arbitrary scale, but there's no such thing as a 10. And to get up into 8s or 7s or 8s or 9s, it's like fucking almost a legendary style. And I would put this in a high 7. Like it was really impressive. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that a Scorsese movie can score high. I'm a big fan of his work. All of the normal shit, even obviously like very well known Taxi Driver early stuff, like this is very, very, very fucking good. And it doesn't surprise me that he's capable of this movie, but it did surprise me that this was like a phone in like business kind of thing for him, because the execution is really fucking solid. So yeah, I'd say 7.6, and
Nice.
I don't know, it's 7.6 boobs in a mirror. Is that better?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So for me, this is an 8. It's an 8,
Yeah.
and it would have been higher, but it is a sports movie, technically, if you want to call Paul a sport. So I do have.
I guess it is.
I have preconceptions. You know what I mean? If I put this higher than an 8, then where the fuck am I going to put Rocky? So that's an issue.
Do you do 10s? Theoretically?
Very rarely. I don't think we.
But like, it's theoretically possible.
I don't. Yeah, but we don't think we ever given a 10 on the pod. I don't think you can, because you, even if there is a 10, you keep it to yourself, because the problem is you'll fuck the algorithm. See the integrity we were discussing earlier. I think there's an aura of that around your algorithm.
Thank you. It also is really jank and broken. Like it started as an idea that there's flaws in every idea, but yeah, I'm glad that we're like very close. We're within 0.4, dude. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, do we recommend this movie wholeheartedly to our listeners? It's a yes from me.
Fucking A.
Definitely. And you may be finding yourself in the same predicament as we did. I mean, for me, this was a rewatch, but was really a rewatch. It felt like a first watch. I made this point over and over again in several episodes, and I will continue to do it again, because I really hope that some of our listeners got my point, and they feel some kind of kinship in knowing that they had a similar experience. To rewatch something later in life, sometimes it's essential. It is essential, because you may have a completely different perception of something due to the knowledge and experience you accrued over time. Life. That's what it is. So this is definitely a movie that I recommend wholeheartedly. It is an 8.0. It's a rounded 8, and it's an 8 JTS brown bourbons. Shots of brown bourbon.
Which is a real bourbon, evidently.
It is indeed, and that's what Fast Eddie drinks.
No, we're not going yet. I refuse. I'm filibustering. We didn't say anything about. We barely said anything about Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and we didn't talk about Forrest Whitaker. This is his debut, and his scene was a great sequence. I require those two things to be discussed.
You know, I actually purposely didn't want to go there, because I thought we were going to leave it out for. He surprised me. He surprised me in this movie. He comes out of nowhere. His performance is amazing. So you know what? Fuck you. You brought me in, so now we're going to talk about him.
We definitely need to.
And it's also a heartbreaking sequence, man. It's another one. Jesus, Paul Newman is a phenomenal actor. Ooh, Forrest Whitaker plays. What's the name of the... Before actually we talk about him, you're not a Sopranos fan, are you?
I think this rhymes with you saying you need to watch stuff again later, because I watched it years after its heyday, and I just couldn't get into it. It doesn't mean it's bad. I just couldn't get into it.
I didn't watch it during while it was running, and then I touched it, and I'm on my 3rd run.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm jealous, because I just didn't get into it. It doesn't mean I will never get into it, but I didn't.
The guy that I'm talking about, I think his name is Paul Herman. Is the guy in the casino that is staking Vince and Carmen when Fast Eddie goes back to Atlantic City. It's the guy they're talking to. And all of a sudden, Tom Cruise is being a dickhead to Carmen. He's being quite aggressive. And he goes, no, that we could have gotten 2,000 from that guy. So you're bugging this bullshit, basically. Right. And so you were talking about Fast Eddie being a bit of a piece of shit in this, but I don't think so. I think it's Vince. Time and time again, he's showing that he's a fucking, he's a piece of shit. But you now wanted to talk about the first scene where our heart breaks for Fast Eddie.
Was with Amos. Amos is Forrest Whitaker's character.
Yeah. What do you want to say about him? Because he's
it's a very great intro to Forrest Whitaker. This is, before like Good Morning Vietnam and before all of his amazing performances in the universe. Debut? It says it's his debut, so wow. I'll take that at its word. And there's just something about, I think the thing about Newman is like, he wants to have a heart of gold. He tries to have integrity, he's like a heroin addict, dude, who just like he goes back to the game.
Oh, he's an alcoholic.
Freeze frame.
Let's
He's an alcoholic,
that.
sure.
Yeah.
And like, he's just a fuck up, man. Like he fucked up in the previous movie, he's a fuck up in this movie, and he fucks up over and over and over again. And Forrest Whitaker takes him for a fucking ride. And I don't know. He like Forrest Whitaker's ability to take him for a ride, and then his breakdown at being taken for a ride, and then Vincent and Mastrantonio being like, "It's okay, bro," and he's like, "It's not okay." Like it's like there's a lot there.
I think that he keeps saying, "I showed my ass," like you saw, like basically, I bear it all here, and I've been mentoring you. So that's the integrity I was talking about earlier. Even within this city environment, he cracks and he's feeling like shit because he bared his ass. Those are his words in front of them. So he's embarrassed.
But bared his ass. But he's not bearing his ass because he's trying to teach him something. He's bearing his ass because he
teach them about the con and how to stick to the con, and he fucking breaks. His ego breaks him. He keeps putting money on the table because his ego fucks him. Do you remember Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction going, "The feet of pride," like that? Sure. Ignore that. That's what this is. It's like it's got in the way of his strategy. It fucked him, and this happened in front of the kid that he's trying to mentor. So I think that's why he's against the wall going, "Oh man, it's such a good act. I want to rewatch Road to Perdition." That's an older. Sure. He was 81, man. He was 61 in this movie, and that's a tough 61, man.
Yeah,
I don't think. Sure. Yeah, like if you look at the way people aged, I think that's alcohol just drying up your skin.
Road to Perdition is a remake of Lone Wolf and Cub, the manga that I was reading at the time of Kill Bill, which makes me want to have Bill die.
It is Road to Perdition, the one with Tom Hanks and Paul Newman, the gangster flick.
Yeah,
I need to watch it. I went to the movies to watch that, and I don't remember.
Me too. Yeah, I went to the movies to watch it. And, yeah.
I need to rewatch it. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, man. At the end of the day, I respectfully, with integrity, disagree that there's redemption. And like, sure, he comes back to be the pool player that he lost, but he doesn't go to the Bahamas with his girl when she says, "Let's walk away." Like, he doesn't walk away from the table. And I think like it makes for a beautiful movie, but it doesn't make for redemption. And like, I'm okay with it, but
judgmental prick. And on that note, this was Umba
and Sealab.